today?
I don't know if the word is the same.
All right, call to order the regular meeting of the Perry Municipal Authority, February 7th, 2022 at 6:15. Roll call, please.
Wines. Here. Marshall. Here. White.
Here.
Brown.
Here.
Dilbeck. Here. Bond.
Here.
Coldarn.
Here.
Stroller.
Here. I do declare a quorum this evening. This evening, the invocation will be by Quentin, right? Bell. Pressure's on, buddy.
We pray to God that for all the people who are here today, and we thank God that this meeting will go well. Amen.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. I really do. All right, item number 1 is the consent agenda.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Wines. Yes. Marshall. Yes. White.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Dilbeck.
Yes.
Bond.
Yes.
Coldarn.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes. Thank you. Item number 4, comments from those assembled pertaining to the items on the PMA agenda. Hearing none. Item number 5, proclamations, combinations, reports of the inquiring of the governing body. Item 5, any new business that needs to come before the authority this evening? No? Item 7, motion adjournment.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Wines. Yes. Marshall. Yes. White.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Dilbeck.
Yes.
Bond.
Yes.
Coldarn.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes, thank you. I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Perry, February 7th, 2022 at 6:17. Roll call, please.
Wines. Here. Marshall. Here. White.
Here.
Brown.
Here.
Dilbeck. Here. Bond.
Here.
Coldarn.
Here.
Stroller.
Here. Item number 1 is the consent agenda. There's 3 items on the agenda.
Motion to approve the consent agenda?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Wines. Yes. Marshall. Yes. White.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Dilbeck.
Yes.
Bond.
Yes.
Coldarn.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes. Almost got left out. Item 4, comments from those assembled pertaining to the city agenda. Item 5, proclamation, combination, reports, and inquiries by the governing body. Hearing none, seeing none, we'll move to item 6, request by council members Colbert, Wines, and White for the city trust manager, department heads to provide monthly and update spreadsheet for all the major departmental capital improvement needs, including the example only vehicles, equipment, major maintenance, repairs, or replacement of buildings and systems, not hand tools or similar items, etc., with the spreadsheet provided to the city council as part of the monthly city manager report and a monthly update for estimates of cost, prioritization, and specific regards for the capital improvement needs. Okay, I'm going to turn this over to one of you guys. Want to talk about this?
Let me do it. So after last meeting, there was a couple things that kind of came up that kind of surprised us, especially on the condition of some of the equipment. Which things are going to happen. We understand that things are going to come up and, you know, that you aren't prepared for. But this is a way to be able to plan for things that, or prepare to plan for things. This way we have kind of a list of what our equipment is and what condition that's in. And, you know, if it needs repairs, you know, we kind of know where that's going to go and what it's going to cost. Instead of 6 months down the road and we find out that there's something that needs repaired that we knew that we were supposed to know about the year before during our planning session. So this way, this just keeps us updated so that we know at all times kind of what equipment's going to need repaired or replaced, instead of it just jumping on us.
Okay.
At the same time, it also provides, it also provides you with backup, in case someone says, well, we didn't know about this. Well, yeah, you did because it was in this spreadsheet. So it works both ways. It's just a tool for some accountability, and it's something to allow us to plan better on where our money's going.
Okay.
Well, I think it could also help with the conversation of, okay, so if this has to move up because it broke down, okay, then how does that fit in that priority? What happens to the rest of these things? Do they move down? Are we going to move it up? It just kind of helps with understanding where we're at and how we manage the setbacks that we get handed. Seems like here recently more than others, but a place to be able to talk about priorities.
Now, the spreadsheet that you've received at budget time and also at the planning sessions, is that format acceptable? What I'll certainly do is go back and the new items that just came through in the CIP from Susmita, we'll add those to them. We'll add a prioritization for that. But that format is acceptable. It's got a comment section, and it goes out 10 years of what we think with the department heads that when it needs to be replaced. And so if that format is okay with y'all, we'll just run with that. And if so, that gives us a leg up, no doubt about that. So I can get that talk faster.
I think the only thing I would say, and I don't remember if it's on there, but I think it'd be nice to put in an age somewhere in there. Like even the fire trucks that we were looking at, I think they were 29 years old, maybe 39. But I think it would be good if we just had a year in there too, because we may find that even though it's in good condition, we probably need to start thinking about when we start replacing these things based on that as well. So I think we should try to get an estimate of.
Okay, I do believe it has a year,
Okay.
but I'll check that just to make certain, because there's a lot of information there.
Yep.
The one thing I would like to add is something that the last meeting I was breaching, and I think that's, Curtis approached me about this, but if we could get away for that to be visible electronically too, kind of like the agendas are, just so we can reference it, it'd be nice for, if I was thinking about something, a way to reference it as well, and not just a paper copy in front of us.
Okay,
That would be helpful for me anyway.
sure, be no problem.
Anybody else? Okay, I'll share. The problem I'm having is, and it goes back to, and I'm just going to use the what's that thing we just bought, the zipper? We have, Russ comes up with a list of things that we needed that you gave him, and it's got dump trucks, and it's got graders, and it's got loaders, and it's got trailers, and all this stuff to make this zipper work, okay? When we bought the zipper, we were under the impression that we were buying a zipper. And I was trying to tell the council the whole time that we weren't buying a zipper. We were gonna buy dump trucks, and we were gonna buy all this stuff. And you said no, and all of a sudden here all this list, after we buy the zipper, then we got this list of stuff. And so it's pretty frustrating to me, because I researched it, I knew it was gonna take a lot more than just a zipper. The zipper was just a small mechanism in the group. And two, when you give your city manager's report, I would like to see you give a city manager's report. I don't need to know that we had a ball tournament this weekend. I want to report what's going on in the city of Perry.
And the definitions of that is what?
I don't know, you're the city manager, you tell us what's going on in the city of Perry.
Okay.
I mean, it seemed like to me that we had our hotels full, we had a good ball tournament this weekend. I mean, the people in our community want to know what's going on. And so I think we need to head more towards a better city manager report. David Payne, I like that guy. He was here an hour and a half. You guys remember talking about city manager's report? I don't need that. But I think we owe it to the citizens to know what's going on in the city. And we as a council, we don't have those detailed items like you have. And so when you give your city manager's report, I think we need what a report is. So if you could help with that, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Anything else?
If I could.
You bet.
There's parts, Mr. Mayor, that I agree with, and parts, I mean, I don't disagree necessarily, but I know that several of us around here knew that it was gonna be more than just the zipper. I mean, but the loader was a surprise to me. I thought we had a good quality loader. And then I do want to see more, like you're saying, but I also do like to hear, and I think the community probably likes to hear that, yeah, our hotels were full, or baseball, you know.
I agree
I
100%,
think they like
but
to hear it.
that's where the city manager report for weeks, months were just directed to the ball field. There's a lot more going on in City Perry than the ball field. You know. All right, we'll move on. You got good direction?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank, no, thank
Thank
you.
you.
All right, item number 7 is items concerning changing ward boundaries. There's been several discussions about this, so let me read item A, discuss among the city council and members of the public concerning the ward boundary map change proposal. Who wants to handle this? I mean, I know that Derek was involved, or Kevin, you were involved.
Yeah, it looks like this is just what we presented last time.
Okay.
So it's just, if anyone had more to say about it, you
Okay.
can say about it. Well, vote to approve.
We just changed those couple little areas
Yeah.
to even the numbers up a little bit better, and it all to me looked like
Cool.
what we.
All right, item B, consider.
Is there any member of the public that'd like to speak about changing the ward boundaries? Because that's what the notice was for. Great. Sorry.
All right, that's all right.
Yeah.
Item B, consider approval of ordinance number 2022-02 of the City Council of the City of Perry, Oklahoma, amending Chapter 1, Article 2 of the Perry Municipal Code 2022 entitled Corporate Limits by the amendment of Section 1-201 concerning the adoption of the official ward boundary map of the City of Perry, and Section 1-202 establishing the new ward boundaries of the City of Perry, providing for safety, severability, repeater codification, filing of ordinance and map with the Noble County Election Board, and declaring emergency.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 2022-02. Appreciate you guys meeting with them separately and making those changes. I felt like it looked really good and even, and made a lot of sense to the recommendations that y'all had.
I second that.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Wines,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Bond,
Yes.
Coldiron,
Yes.
Strellick.
Yes. Motion on the emergency, please.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Wines,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Bond,
Yes.
Coldiron,
Yes.
Strellick.
Yes, thank you. Item 8, receive recommendation from the Perry Planning Commission on an application filed by New Tech Energy Corporation, AKA PMQ Investments Incorporated, Chasm Con applicant for rezoning of C2 General Commercial Zoning District to C5 Planning Commercial Park District for real estate situated in the southwest corner of Section 17, Township 21, North, Range 1 West of the Indian Meridian, Noble County, Oklahoma, and the street address of 3101 West First Street, Perry, Oklahoma, 73077. A permit to permit night watchman trailer and use. Okay, this is what I believe, someone correct me, is this for the old 89ers or the place out there where the Mike Rainey is?
Yes.
Okay. All right, go ahead, tell us what you need to know.
Okay, so Mr. Khan is here if you guys have any direct questions for him. I mean, Bryce did a pretty good job, as he always does, about explaining the background, but basically what they want is they have a full-time manager, like on staff, that they want out there for the hours that they're not in operation, basically just to watch over the place. So they're talking about putting an RV-type mobile home out for the guy to reside whenever, you know, the off hours are. It's basically what the request is in a nutshell. What they are seeking to go from a C2 to a C5, being that that is our planned commercial park, kind of brings it more into what the land use plan stated that that whole area was going to be made up for. Planning Commission recommended to approve, and staff tends to agree. You guys have any questions for me?
Your comment there, I'm trying to remember, we had a previous discussion about
That's
this.
why I talked fast. So that
Well, I'm slow.
no, I'm just kidding. Go
I
ahead.
apologize. But the C2 to C5 thing, I thought we had discussed that as well as other locations was not in the plan, the previous plans that were done. That area was not in C5.
So what we discussed was an RV park in particular. It wasn't about the zoning at that point. It was the use. And I haven't spent a little time on the phone with them because I knew kind of where they were headed back then. But I think just to make it more palatable for, the city of Perry, they thought, hey, if we make a mobile home court out here, then we just slide one in here and then boom, we're done. But as we've made an exception, within this certain zoning, and that's what they were wanting to see, or that's what they were seeking was the night watchman. Sorry, let me be a little bit more clear with that. It would require.
The former application will not be permitted.
Correct.
In this,
That was
in this
denied.
district. Is that in
Well,
essence your question? Or?
Kind of, I'm just trying to get, so we talked about a map, and I still haven't seen that map. There was planned zones and the expected uses for the town as a whole, I thought, is the way I understood it.
Are you talking about the land use map?
Basically, that had been done, I don't remember when that had been done.
It's old, no doubt about that.
Yeah, it was
But I
old.
think we have one.
And I remember some conversation about that C5, I thought, didn't fit in that area. That's my question.
Well, it's currently what? It's currently a commercial district, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, and so that's medium intensity, and we're talking about two documents. One's the zoning map, and that's what everybody's got, and then there's the future land plan, okay, which is what we'd like to see.
Right.
And it's my understanding. I mean, that is.
Everything out there is very consistent with what
I mean,
they're
it's
seeking.
medium intensity.
Right.
I think when NODA did it, they subscribed like zoning districts to the future land map, but it's really the purpose of the land map is to designate, is this residential, is this commercial, is this industrial? Now, you can have variations of that. I don't know if we are, whether ours should or not, but in order to zone per a plan, if that land map wasn't medium or commercial, then we would have to amend the land plan first before we could rezone. But the land plan for this is medium intensity commercial, and it's consistent with the neighboring property, which is all of the Perry Commercial Park. And the uses there are consistent with commercial uses, but don't allow
For residential.
mobile home
Oh,
parks.
correct.
And they don't allow any residential use except a night watchman use, out there. But, we can bring you the land plan and the zoning map, and so that you could take, because, all about rezoning is taking a look at the other districts that are around there, and I would say that all of that is C5 with the exception of industrial, which is, west of C5, and we rezone that to heavy industrial,
Correct.
right?
Yes.
And then everything else is in that area is out of city limits, right?
Or it abuts agricultural. I mean, it's
Yeah.
one of the.
Because agriculture is just west, right?
Correct.
Of this property, as well
And to
as-
the north.
And to the north, right, yeah. So it's,
And perhaps we should do that. It would be fair to do that and fair to you to have a Google map, and then to show on that Google map what the various districts are so that you can see whether it's spot zoning or whether it's consistent with adjoining zoning and the like. That would certainly be smart.
to be fair, I was struggling remembering exactly what we talked about previously, but
Okay.
I remembered something
I remember the same discussion.
about that. And
I think my confusion is, in the background it says night watchman trailer, which mentally that makes me think, someone's going there to work at night, and here's the place to hang out. But then the application says home trailer for on-site living manager. So that sounds like we're setting up a home for someone. And I'm just confused about
Very true.
what are we actually approving here?
So the intent of a night watchman is basically somebody that is a full-time employee that is there in non-operational hours
Okay,
just to watch the facility.
okay,
You'll see those in more common practice, so like grow facilities, I think the state requires one to be there.
okay.
But, you know, preceding that, it used to be in industrial areas because, you know, people would break in at night, and so they just had to have a guy in a guard shack watching stuff at night. And that's basically what the use here would be. It's just a guy whenever he's off hours in an RV, staying out there whenever it's sun up, time to go to work, he'll go inside and clock in.
So you're not talking about employee A living there, period. That's where he lives. That's what you're saying?
Correct.
That's not a night watchman. In my mind, that's not a night watchman. That's a home.
Okay?
I mean, I am concerned that we could open a can of worms here and have a trailer house park out there. I mean, we're gonna rezone a spot big enough for one trailer sitting in? Or are we gonna rezone a spot big enough to have 10 trailers in?
Well, that's the exception, is there can only be the one. That's the whole purpose. I mean, and it was one of those, correct me if I'm wrong here, but we just basically, we voluntold on ourselves here and said kind of what we were doing, or why they were seeking that, because we just don't want there to be any sort of dishonesty, and so that also the applicant hears out loud that, look, if we approve this, this is the exception that you're getting, is one night watchman trailer, not an RV park.
There was, and I believe, and I apologize if I'm wrong, but I believe the same company owns the one across the street over there where the
Correct.
subway is.
Correct.
And there was someone living out back there, and we terminated that.
Yes,
Now, granted, it wasn't zoned for that,
correct.
but it was still a living situation.
There were some extenuating circumstances to go with that, you know, I mean,
Yeah.
I
But what
want
I'm saying is, I don't want to be misrepresenting this as a night watchman. This is not going to be a night watchman, it's going to be a home for somebody.
I don't know what the technicalities are on a night watchman, let's say whenever,
It sounds like residential to me.
Well,
And they're calling it a night watchman.
so here's kind of where we've shot ourselves in the foot. We also tabled our RV ordinance that says that you can't permanently reside in an RV. We never defined what permanently means. So it's sort of a, where do you go with that? You know, because if we've said you can't permanently, well, technically when he goes to work, he's not residing in there, or if he, you know, something like that. And I'm just giving you guys like the 4 examples because you're bringing up things that kind of hadn't been considered here, but
Whether he's in the trailer or not, it's still his residence.
true.
Even if he's inside the building, that's still his residence. Just because you're not in the vehicle doesn't mean you don't reside there.
Fair enough. And like I say, I don't know what the exception is on off hours for night watchmen.
Yeah.
I don't. I don't know that, like on, you know, cannabis facilities or anything like that, whenever the weekend comes around, if they go home or if they just reside on the property.
Yeah.
I would assume that anytime it's not in operation, there's an expectation that they're going to be in that camper observing the actual property.
We just need to be careful that we have other commercial businesses that don't operate 24 hours a day. You know, hey, look over here, they got a night watchman. Maybe we pull a trailer house out back of our place, you know?
Well, the argument there would be, though, if it's 24 hours a day, why do you need a night watchman?
He
No, I
that
said if
they're
it's not 24.
Gotcha. Okay, I'm sorry. I apologize.
Yeah. So, we just need to be careful about that, you know? Setting a precedence.
Well, I mean, we could further define what night watchman is for purpose of that ordinance, but not in this proceeding. We would actually write a little amendment. We would take that before the planning commission and need to be published 15 days before the hearing, and then the planning commission could recommend that back to you. And at that point, this is already teed up. I don't think you would need to take it back under that definition because we wrote the definition narrower. So, I mean, at that point, you could adopt both the ordinance providing the definition and the ordinance approving this. You know, I kind of agree, a night watchman isn't a 24/7 residence. You think about it, they're normally one of those, GE, kind of offices with a bathroom and a sink and there may be a bed there may be a chair there, but it's not a place where somebody lives 24/7. So I don't think what you're saying is taking it too far. Well, I think you're just wanting to define it more in keeping with what that purpose is. And that's not, a one-person KOA camp, a one-trailer KOA camp. It's not that. It's a night watchman use. And I think you can probably provide or find definitions for that. It doesn't have to be approved tonight. The main thing about this is there's that, his zoning that he has right now is a reasonable use, so there's no problem. You don't have to rezone it. I think that it's not unreasonable to rezone it to this use because there's a similar use next door. But because we have identified this particular use, which is the purpose of the application, you very well may want that further defined. And we could bring you something back in 2 weeks that does that. And at the same time, actually, we've got that.
On the 24th?
Yeah, well, the newspapers come out, right?
Yes.
Unless we could get in tomorrow's newspaper,
What about that?
the notice.
Thinking, well, maybe.
Was it Wednesday
Maybe
or
it's possible.
Wednesday?
Wednesday's when it
Wednesday.
comes out.
Is there ever space
Sorry,
left on
couldn't even at 9
Tuesday
when we
to get a little notice in?
To get an obituary in, now we have to have it in by 11 o'clock on Tuesday to get it in Wednesday.
Okay, so it's not impossible.
I don't know are you talking about a legal publication?
Yeah, it wouldn't be much. I'd make this one
Why
ready.
don't you call it obituary if you want to?
Yeah, I know we could if you were there.
For what it's worth, the planning commission had some very similar comments, exactly to what you guys have said. They pointed out that flaw then as well. I just didn't want to tell you that.
Yeah, if you don't define it and you're concerned about it, then you're leaving the issue open.
So we're gonna define what night watchman means?
Yeah.
As well as what trailer means?
Yes, what
Okay.
that
And-
use. what that-
Because I
Also,
feel like
does
you
that
have
mean
to
that's right?
define them both
Yes,
I would like
to
to
do so.
include in that we do the spot zoning, the land use. I'd like to review that as well.
okay, and we can provide that.
Before we promise anything, and David Payne isn't here to back me up on
Yes.
this, zoning map I can give you all day long. I have not seen a land use map since I've been here. We refer to it a lot, but I've never seen it.
Well, I want to.
It's in the
Because I haven't seen
it's
it
in the
either.
it's a foldout out of the comprehensive.
Okay, well, never mind. Then we
Yeah,
have it.
no.
I was just kidding. We have it.
So have there, what's the need for the night watchman? Have there been break-ins?
I feel like they could explain that better than I could.
That'd be great.
Would you guys like to?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hi.
I'm representative of Kazim Khan. He's not here, so I manage both locations. So.
What's your need for a night watchman there? Have
Just
you had a
for-
lot of break-ins or issues or?
Yeah, we have some issues. Somebody, like some truckers came in the night time, broke it. Somebody used the restroom, make it dirty, leave it in the bottles in the parking lot. Like we cleaned it so many times, and we have break it like canopies and lights and others. So really just want the watch in the night time.
So-
We have camera, but we shut down lights in the night time. They're not covered
Okay.
in the parking lot. And if you see the bag, and the truckers use mostly night time, like use the restroom and just throw it, they make it dirty.
Okay.
Is there intention that truckers don't pull in there at night, or?
They pull They pull in.
They do
night time.
today,
They
but in the future, do you want them to pull in there at night?
Yeah, they can, but if they're watching somebody, they can stop, hey, you can go across a bridge, it's 24-hour store, you can use over there, whatever, you wanna use it, so. And some people just, they have some truckers, we give them free parking over there in nighttime, and they took the tires off and put in the just leave it like this, and we have the issue also, so.
Any further questions? We appreciate you answering those questions. for us.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank
much. So, it's my belief that the council would like to table this item for further discussion and more information, is that correct? Would someone make that motion?
Definition, yeah.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Wines,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Coldiron,
Yes.
Strellick.
Yes, thank you. Item 9 is pertaining to this piece of property, so we need to table that one too.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Wines,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Coldiron,
Yes.
Strellick.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you. Item 10, consider approval of Rogers EMS Consulting LLC for ORSA preparation agreement. They are trying to help us obtain a grant for some fire equipment. Russell, would you like to speak to that?
Sure.
And I do want to say something on the fire department's behalf. I don't do this very often, but I'm going to today. I got a phone call from a gentleman by the name of Trevor. I believe you have a Trevor working there? Taking a survey for on whether we want fire equipment or not. So I told him, I said, yes, sir, I'm the mayor. Just go ahead and mark that whatever you want.
I did a survey too, and then I read in here that we were going to be doing a survey in the next month. I was like, all right, because I'm ahead.
I was out of town and got the same call, or my wife got the same call, and thought our house burned down while we were out of town.
I kind of worried about the same thing too. I was like, yes.
I did think when it came up fire department on my deal, I'm like, Russell's got a number, why is he coming?
It's a good way to get people to answer.
So anyway, we kid about this, chief,
Sorry.
but for myself anyway, I appreciate your department being aggressive towards this. And you can pass that on to
Absolutely.
whomever those people are.
I sure will.
I'm sure Officer Duke back there was involved in it.
He did. And actually, that next item on the agenda, we can talk about some of those specifics to the results of that survey. The current item that you're looking at is the potential for applying for the URSRF grant. That is the Oklahoma Emergency Response System and Stabilization Improvement Revolving Fund. Back when the tobacco tax was passed in 2004, that was to save our failing trauma system, there was a portion of those dollars that also went to save EMS through tobacco cessation programs. So typically in an annual year, you see amounts between 1.5 million and just under 3 million. That's the most I've ever seen for emergency medical services to be able to apply for funding through this URSRF grant. Sean Rogers is a former State Department of Health director and essentially wrote the URSRF grant. That is something that he was actually in that position as State EMS director back in that time, and so he is definitely the authority through Rogers EMS Consulting to be able to write these grants. There's numerous components to the grant, and they range from there's multiple things like even maybe just the square mileage area that your ambulance service covers, what the population is in your ambulance service district, how many miles to a trauma center. Multiple pieces to that, but also one of those pieces is how much money are you requesting and have you been previously funded or awarded an URSRF award previously. Either of those two things Either of those two things, if you've been previously awarded a grant, those points count against you. Or if you request more than $95,000, that also counts against you. So when you culminate all of those points, those are just a couple of the different things that can impact your score in a negative way. So this item actually pertains to the potential purchase for a new ambulance. And so as we talked a couple of weeks ago, that the price of a new ambulance is about $160 to $180, somewhere in that range for what we're looking for. So if we applied for a $95,000 grant, that would leave a liability on us for the city for about $65,000 to $70,000, $80,000.
Most of these have an expenditure timeline, if I recall correctly.
Yes, absolutely. So there are benchmarks that you have to meet through the State Department of Health. That's not only are they the regulatory agency for our service, but they also essentially administer that grant. And so there are benchmarks you have to meet throughout that time period. And then once you have met all your benchmarks, they can close out the grant and move forward from there. So, was something else I was about to say, and I don't remember. Is there any other questions? Oh yeah. So if I and Bryce, I just wanted to make sure I was able to jump into this. I think his fee is it 2,000 total or 2,000 once he writes it and 2,000 if you're awarded? How does that?
It's 2,000 up front, 2,000 if it's awarded.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sean Rogers has actually written this grant for us numerous times. I think in 2012, 2013, and 2000.
Then there was one infamous time.
There was one more, I'm sorry?
The infamous time when he wrote them all, took them down, and went to a copier, didn't get them copied, and didn't get them filed in time. So that was, and one of those was ours. I had about 6 of them in that time, different communities, so that was hard to explain why I recommended him. But heck, he wrote it, and if we want to try, I think this is a good way to try. He will get it in time. That kind of thing, you only screw up once.
Yeah, it's hard to start charging again if you don't.
Yeah.
I think if it's awarded, we only have so long to spend it, correct? Like, how long is that?
Usually it's, go ahead.
No, I was just trying to remember. I mean, it's a close.
I think it's 180 days.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's about 6 or 8 months, it seems like. So, yeah, I guess.
I haven't looked at the grant agreement in a while.
And we don't have any problem getting ambulances within that time frame or the remainder of our share.
Normally, you just have to have the purchase
The commitment,
order.
yeah.
Have the expenditure, it's not when it's delivered.
Okay.
So yeah, we can make this work if we get the grant.
Any further questions? All right, thank you. Chief?
Thank you.
Might as well stay up here.
I'd
Stay close.
rather him walk back in.
Burn more energy.
We have a motion of approval for the
So moved.
Second.
roll call, please.
Wines,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Coldarn,
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes. Thank you. Item 11, discussion of filing for a $300,000 Cdbg grant for replacement of fire engine 7. Update on the repairs if available.
Okay.
Chief,
All
I'll
right.
turn this over to you now. You
Okay.
better be bringing this good news.
All right.
That's right.
Thank you.
We need some good news.
Yeah, so following the previous council meeting, there was Marita Woodard with Park Hill actually come and visited with us about preparing a grant for the Community Development Block Grant in the amount of $300,000. As long as we spent, Bryce, correct me if I'm wrong, we had to spend as a city at least $300,000.
Matching
also,
grant, yeah.
Okay. And so the
For maximum points.
for maximum
For
points, yeah.
maximum
Yeah.
points. I mean, you don't have to match it with that, but if you want to get it, you want
Yeah.
to put out some money yourself.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so we did have, out of the, we had 3 vendors that we sought a estimate or quote from, Pierce, E1, and Toyn. The problem we ran into is I received some specifications and drawings, actually it had been 2 days after that last council meeting, and we've learned that neither of those 2 vendors, their trucks would not fit, none of the trucks would fit into our bay. And so it's kind of a back to the drawing board thing. We've requested updated trucks that would fit. We gave them the link and said if they don't fit here, we can't use that bid. I mean, we don't have the building space to park that truck. And so the only vendor that we've received so far that had a fire truck that would actually fit in our bay is Toyn Fire Apparatus. And that truck came in at around $390,000, $391, I believe it was. So almost 50% of what we had projected for, or what we had received estimated quotes for from the other 2 vendors. So 391 on that one. So one of the things that we did that Marita needed for the Cdbg grant was she needed for us to do the wage income survey citywide, because this is going to be for the entire city that we were going to obviously serve, not just a portion of the city like water or electric or sewer, excuse me. And so went back to the fire station, told the guys we had to have 350 responses, and that was Wednesday. And so by Friday afternoon, they had called 354 people. And so they worked extremely.
And 9 counseling.
Yeah. So
They knew who the ants are, they're like, oh.
yeah, so that group moved extremely quick and actually obtained 354 responses, not just made that many contacts. So what we come out with is about 52.5% that were below the low to moderate income level and 47.5% that were above. I did talk to Maria today. I had submitted that the latest estimate, the $391,000 estimate. There was 2 problems we had with what I sent her today. She said that 52.5% was very low and we would only receive 1 point for that. And it sounds like that's a pretty substantial number. Like there's a big difference between getting 1 point or 3 points is the way I understood that. So it may be that we have to maybe make some more calls and see what happens to that average on the low to above, or the above or below the income level. So, and one of the other things that she did say was that we would, like Bryce said, we have to have that $300,000 expenditure to be able to get the matching $300,000. So, which means we would have to spend $600,000. So. I didn't get a chance to talk with Marita today, but that may be a question of, we had talked about the air packs, the self-contained breathing apparatus, right? That was one of the things that we had talked about during some of these budget things, and that's a pretty large expenditure. But that may be something we can wrap into that truck, because she said you can put that equipment on a fire engine. So if that's an option for us, maybe that's something to look at. Like I said, I got that email from her this afternoon and just never had a chance to call her to see if that was an option, but.
Toyn, oh, sorry, were you done?
Go ahead, no, please.
The Toyn, as far as configuration of that truck, it fits, but we also talked about some of the other requirements. Does it fit all of your requirements or just?
Yeah, so some of the changes we might have to alter this, if that is something that we're successful at, this fire truck wouldn't even, before I start talking about engine 7, sorry, now I'm getting ahead of myself, but so if engine 7 is not repairable or is going to cost more than what it would be worth, this Toyn fire truck doesn't come off of the assembly line until July, and so it does put us in somewhat of a jam running the next 5 months, not knowing. We'll talk about the insurance service office mitigation. So that would be a discussion we would probably want to have again. I did speak with, so what my point was, if it's not going to come off the assembly line until July, we can still make some of those alterations and request some of those changes and just put in essentially a change order on a stock truck, but since it's not completed, they can actually make those changes. so to make it actually fit us.
So the 490 may change as well.
I don't,
Or
yeah, the
390.
I mean, if it did, it would change minimally, just because all from a big picture perspective, it's all there. It's just we have some of those minor changes we need to make, pipe binders and that sort of thing for our hoses hookup. I did contact the mechanic that's been looking at our fire engine. He actually got sick midweek, and so he was out Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of last week. He was back today. He's got a portion of the fire pump torn apart. He said that the pump packing inside there was melted like cheese. He said it was just dripping all over the place. He doesn't know yet why. He said that in his previous experience, it's typically a pump shaft or an impeller issue, which he said, he won't know that until hopefully this week sometime. But he said he didn't know this evening. I called him.
I would believe it'd probably be like a bearing or something got really hot and just melted that thing.
And that was his thoughts. He just, he said he won't know until he actually takes the pump and pulls it in half. And he said then he can actually get his eyes inside of that thing to see, what internal components have been damaged, if any. So I wish I had some information for you. I called him this morning early, and he didn't have any news, and so I waited till this evening, a few minutes after 5, and he said they just didn't have a chance to get deep enough into it to see what else is happening. So.
But the other equipment that you were talking about on the fire truck, how close is that gonna set the 600?
I mean, if we were to say, if I contact Marita and she says yes, you're allowed to add those air packs, which is basically the harness and the bottle that the firefighters wear when they go into an area. Those, I mean, for the number that we have, which is 16 plus a spare bottle, that's about $130,000, 120 to 130,000. And then, so now we're what, 520? If we have to get to that 600,000, I mean, now we still have to have hand tools, fire hose, fire nozzles, a generator. There's multiple small pieces of equipment that are going to add up very, very quickly. I don't anticipate that would be impossible to get to that 600,000, but we don't want to add.
All required, not because we just want to get there.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, and that's the thing too is our basically our two options are if we do that $600,000 purchase, then we're taking the equipment off of engine 7 and putting it on a new truck, or we buy this truck and take new equipment to meet the $600,000 is, I guess, the two ways to look at that.
And the truck itself, I mean, it will do the job that we're needing it.
I had to, I called where the sales representative's out of, and I tried to get a list of maybe fire departments in Oklahoma that have used that brand of truck. There were 4 communities. I contacted 2 of them, and both communities spoke extremely high of this brand. I mean, I've never heard of it before. Primarily, it's in the southeast, Nashville, Tennessee. I guess that's the only fire truck they run. It's just in that region of the United States. It sounds like is where they're more prominent for that name, for that brand of truck. So, but anyhow, the 2 that have the truck, I didn't call the 3rd one, and the 4th place has ordered one. They just haven't received it. So yeah, but the 2 that I talked to.
The going this route and leaving that on 7, leaving what we might leave on 7, would that increase the resale potential there?
I believe it would. And I think that was that was just the sidebar conversation for us. I thought maybe around 50, and I think that's kind of where we're all just wondering when the value of things are going to level out, and they just keep climbing.
Any questions?
I appreciate you guys trying to help find some of these grants and stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We need the financial support, so it's good to see it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You could've went and shoveled snow for the elderly though. That helped.
We did. I was gonna say, that actually happened.
We're not talking about your wife, we're not talking about your wife, Stephen.
Oh, man. Ouch.
Okay, are you guys pleased with the discussion? Okay, item 12, approve FAA Defy request for reimbursement in the amount of $2,895 for approved airport drainage project at the Perry Municipal Airport. If I see this on the agenda one more time. But this is reimbursement, so that's good news. I did talk to the manager, and he said the project was done. So.
Okay, well, that's good. In that case, I'll approve this.
Yes.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Wines,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Bond,
Yes.
Goldar,
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes, thank you. Any new business that needs to come before the council this evening? I did?
Yeah.
Where's that at? Oh, that's. Oh, yeah, okay. Meredith Hush.
Numbers girl.
I don't mind, just turn the page, I'm sorry. Review bids received for the citywide sanitary sewer Phase 5 capital improvement project. Discuss, determine, and award the bids to the lowest responsible bidder.
I'll take this.
Yes, sir.
We are gonna ask that you continue this to the next meeting. I want to ensure that we have all the easements or rights that we need to install this. This project is unlike the other 4 citywide drainage projects we had. Those were installed in the alleys. The sewers were in the alleys. And this one, it's taking a kind of a cross-country tour. And I'll show you this. This is like from here through Chuck's mom's house, or her property, up here by Mr. Inevnit, by Jared Cunningham, Chuck's old house. And then it's coming down in this direction and then cutting across, right here.
Down in the
It's
Marsh
coming
Banks
down
area.
here and cutting across there. Now, what's interesting is all that property is platted. Okay? And some of the streets have been vacated, but some of them haven't. And that's where the sewer line was placed originally, within the dedicated, platted streets of this subdivision that was never opened.
There's a
Okay?
street that goes east off of 7th Street, down that creek area, it's called Red Rock Creek.
Yes.
I mean, Red Rock Street.
Yeah, Red
Behind
Rock.
what Chuck's old house used to be.
Supposed to be one?
Yeah, there's a street.
Yeah, there's a
It's a
street
flatter
there, and
street,
that's
it's
why I
called
wanted-
Red Rock.
Yeah, Red Rock Street. Now, Black Bear Street has been vacated. And so we're taking all these facts, we're putting all these facts together and kind of overlaying this. And then Autumn has made this really nice exhibit, which is everybody's telephone number that's along the route. And so we had a meeting today with Larry and Will Sheets. Wonderful. Will got with Tim Dazell. Tim Dazell did some looking up of abstracts, gave us a lot of information. And from what we know, there's probably one easement that we need that is across Mr. Golay. And so Ronald Golay. And but with respect to the sewer line running like Red Rock Street, even though it is a platted street, where is the sewer line in relationship to where the street's supposed to be? So Bill Myers, surveyor, Bill Myers is the engineer that's working on your replacement water line project. His surveyor's gonna come up and meet with Willie will sheets. And they're gonna walk this and give us a report on whether the existing sewer line lies within or without these reserved streets. And then also, do we need a temporary construction easement, or do we need any other interests? Okay, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna get with the residents, and we're gonna talk to them, and we're gonna send them a letter, and tell them, maybe even meet, and tell them what this is all about, and inform them. Now, this is a pipe bursting situation, so, for the most part, I won't say they won't know that we're there, because it's gonna be heavy equipment. I mean, they're gonna know that you're there, but it's not gonna trench their fields and all that. There will be work at the points of the manholes, which are set up. And anybody that wants one of these, we have these made. Willie had these done, and I think David Payne worked on. We can provide you a copy, because this is somebody's ward. Your ward, probably, right?
Derek's, yeah.
Yeah, Derek's ward. And so you probably want to know, and maybe even reach out. I did today, seeing that the largest property that it goes through is Jared's property, if not Mrs. Hall's property. And I spoke to him and sent him some of these pictures, and so we're working with them directly. Of course, I don't want to really award this contract before we know everything is good here. But we've got the plan, we've got the surveyor coming in, we've got great exhibits, and we'll have answers for you. Now, at least on this, God, we got some tight bids, really close together. And, Blaine hadn't given me what his estimate was for this project, but for purposes of an engineering estimate, we're using $600,000. And it's just so nice how it came, even under that amount. At first, we were, a little dismayed. Urban Contractors, has done all but one of these projects, and they've done a really good job. And then we checked out Horseshoe Construction, thinking, Horseshoe or Construction, are they up to par with Urban Contractors? And we found some good references. We're going to continue to get references, and then make a recommendation when this comes back. But we really can't. We've got two great contractors. We haven't really got or construction yet, have we?
They just sent something.
Oh, we did get something. So we'll be able to report on that, but until we know exactly, we recommend that we hold off.
Motion to table.
Right.
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Hines,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Goldar,
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes, thank you. Item 14, any new business that needs to come before the council this evening?
Is that okay, Meredith?
Hearing none. Item 15, consider convening executive session 1 to confer on the matter pertaining to economic development of the city of Perry, to discuss a proposal to entice the location of a residential developer to the community to build single-family dwellings, duplexes, multifamily housing, and thereby approve the economic development of the city, as public disclosure of the proposal will interfere with the development and implementation of the proposal. It's a Woods addition pursuant to 25 OS 307 C11 Oklahoma statutes as amended. And 2, to discuss the appraisal and purchase of certain real property related to the Upper Black Bear watershed project pursuant to Title 25, Section 307 of the Oklahoma statutes as amended. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Hines,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Goldar,
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes, thank you. All right, we need a motion on to reconvene in the regular session, please.
Motion to reconvene.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Wines,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Bond,
Yes.
Coldarn,
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes, thank you. Item 17, item A, take any action deemed necessary pursuant to the executive session, including but not limited to the approval of a development agreement with KMR Development LLC and Oklahoma Limited Liability Company, Freedom Homes Company LLC, and a Oklahoma Limited Liability Company, and the Perry Municipal Authority. Hearing none, I'll move to item B. Take any action deemed necessary with respect to the appraisal and purchase of certain real property related to the Upper Black Bear Watershed Program. Hearing none. Item 18, motion on adjournment.
So moved.
So moved.
Wines,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Bond,
Yes.
Coldarn,
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes.